Hello and welcome to another episode of Humans in 5.
Carl Sagan famously said, "We are made of star stuff," on the documentary television program Cosmos in the 1980s. By that he meant that humans, on the tiniest level, are made from minerals and elements that were all created by the interactions between the sun, the stars, and planets billions of years ago.
Those same elements are found in the foods we eat and the water we drink, and as we take in that food and water, those minerals and nutrients go into the tissues of our bodies. It's a good thing too, because these can be really helpful for researchers looking at the remains of humans who died in the past.
Studying the compounds from food and water that get integrated into our bodies is known as stable isotope studies. Isotopes are atoms of the same element that have an equal number of protons and a different number of neutrons, giving them slightly different weights. We divide isotopes into two categories, radioactive and stable.
In a previous episode, which you can find here, we talked about radioactive isotopes and their use in dating archaeological sites. Stable isotopes have a stable nucleus that doesn't decay over time, making them ideal to tell us about how they got into our body tissues, like our skeleton, in the past.
Stable isotope studies study the ratio of specific stable isotopes in teeth or in bone. There are lots of different stable isotopes that can be used, but the most widely used ones are carbon 12 and 13, nitrogen 14 and 15, oxygen 16 and 18, and strontium 86 and 87.
To examine stable isotopes, you need a small amount of the tissue that they've contributed to building. For those working in archaeology or biological anthropology, that will usually mean taking a small sample of bone or tooth tissue, processing that tissue, and running it through a machine called a mass spectrometer.
The results of these analyses will often look like this, where different isotopes are compared alongside their ratios. Some isotopes are more informative for some aspects of lifestyle than others. For example, carbon ratios can tell us whether a person was eating different types of plant material, whether that be maize or wild grasses.
Isotopes can tell us about non-vegetarian diets too. When an animal such as a cow or sheep eats a certain type of grass or plant, they'll show an isotopic value in their bones or teeth that's representative of that particular type of grass or plant. So as humans consume animal protein, such as beef or fish or shellfish, they'll exhibit isotopic values based on the fact that they've eaten animal protein. We can use nitrogen isotopes to look at these protein sources in the diet.
But we don't just eat meat and veg, we also drink water. The water we drink comes from the earth and includes a lot of different minerals in it. So different that by using strontium stable isotopes, we can actually pinpoint where in the world you drank water for extended periods of time. This can be really useful when researchers are trying to find out if a person is local to an area or grew up in a different part of the world.
Stable isotopes are a fascinating and useful tool for investigating the lives of people who died in the past, but they don't come without a cost. Every time bone or dental tissue is used for these analyses, that tissue gets destroyed, which means we really have to think carefully about how valid it is to destroy a precious resource for just one study.
We hope this episode has got you thinking about the elements that combine to make you. And we'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
And don't forget to subscribe!